Today on Locked On Red Wings, did Derek Lalonde's first season as head coach of the Detroit Red Wings make them better?
You're Locked On Red Wings, your daily podcast on the Detroit Red Wings, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On Red Wings podcast. We are your hosts, Brian Fisher and Scotty Bentley. I'm a podcast producer for the Daily J, a WWJ News Radio podcast. Well, Scotty's the host over at Locked On Tigers, as well as a freelance journalist for the Detroit News. And today, guys, we're finally gonna do a kind of a review, analyzing Derek Lalonde and his coaching staff to see and just determine whether or not we feel that he made a difference on this roster in his first year over what we saw last year with head coach Jeff Blashill. And what's really interesting about this conversation when we get into it, Scotty, is that there's so many different factors to this. Like there could be a part of it where it's like, yeah, it was because of him. And then other parts were like, well, did the team carry him at all? You know, was it the roster being better? What made the difference? Or was it the system Derek Lalonde was trying to run? And we'll talk about that. And then we're going to finish off the episode talking about the World Championships that are going on, IIHS World Championships, as Carter Mazur had an absolute rocket. Dominik Kubalik's tied for second most points in the tournament right now. Joe Veleno's got up there as well. There's a lot of Red Wings doing a lot of things. Yeah, Mazur though. Mazur laser. That's what happened.
I said Razor, who's been great too, but yeah, you're right. Carter Mazur, he had a game winner the other day. Yeah, he's been great. We'll talk about that at the end,
But before we get to that, we kind of just wanted to riff a little bit because it's not Red Wings related in particular, but it is hockey NHL news. And the situation going on with the Arizona Coyotes is just too juicy to not talk about, because that's a situation over there in Arizona that has been, how do I say this nicely? Kind of been a circus from day one. Poorly run organization, poorly run franchise. And then they got kicked out of their own arena, playing out of a college rink. We all know the story. But now, Scotty, the latest update, right, is that their proposal to city council to get the funding to build a new rink next to the airport in Tempe failed. So now they have literally zero prospects to build a new arena. And there are some rumors, they're rumors, and that's all they are, but rumors circulating that this may be the end of the Arizona Coyotes. And I guess my number one question is do you buy that?
It's like, it's one of those weird situations where I have thought that the Arizona Coyotes, were at their end for like each of the last 6 years.
Right.
So now at this point, I almost don't even buy it. And I'm almost in this, like, I have to see it to believe it type of situation, just because of how much they just keep seeming to make it through whatever process or rumors about moving and whatnot every single year. I actually have like one of my best friends lives in Arizona. Well, a couple of them all live together out there, and they live in Tempe. And they do not care about hockey whatsoever. But I was talking to them about it. I was trying to be like, is it like a big deal? Like, are people, like upset or like trying to get people to vote and whatnot? And he was like, yeah, we heard about it one time a few weeks ago. And like, if you didn't tell me that today was the day that they were like counting those votes, I wouldn't have even like known that was that, like the proposals. I wouldn't have even known that those proposals were like going to be on there today. And I was like, that's crazy. And then like the numbers come out on Twitter and like the beat writers are all talking about how, like the side that was pro putting
the Coyotes, that was right. The pro side.
Yeah, the Coyotes and like that party got out like funded by like millions of dollars. Like the Coyotes put together like the equivalent of a league minimum NHL contract in funding to like try to for advertising to like try to for the campaign to get people to vote yes on the prop, and Tempe itself put up like $3 million or something. Like, it's just crazy, man. I guess my answer is I think they're just going to keep city hopping in Arizona until they either get shot down by like any option out there, or until they find one that'll take them. But I don't think that, like, I know the next year or two they're still going to be in Arizona. It's just a matter of where.
Yeah, so they have one more year left with ASU, right? They have one more year playing out of Mullet Arena at the college stadium. But I mean, and I feel my heart goes out to Robin Liano, who's put her heart and soul
Locked
into
On
covering.
Coyotes is genuinely one of the best shows on this entire network.
She went and covered every single city council meeting that had this on the docket to be discussed. My heart goes out to her if they lose that Coyotes, but that's really it. Because in my opinion, Gary Bettman should have given up on Arizona a long time ago.
Yeah.
From the get-go, it felt as if the state and the cities, Phoenix and what Glendale is essentially where they really are, never really cared to have the Coyotes there. And the owner never really cared to make that team competitive. I mean, they had Shane Doan, and for the longest time, Shane Doan was the only player that they had. I mean, I know at one point they had, they still have Chychrun. No, they traded Chychrun. Now they've traded Chychrun.
Yep.
They have Clayton Keller now. And I mean, they've had a handful of good players, but they've never put a team together. One Western Conference Finals appearance in all the time that they've been in the league, and that was it. That's the most competitive this team's been. And, people are on Twitter talking about how their heart goes out to the fans. I hate to be that guy, but what fans? Every single time you turn on an Arizona Coyotes game, particularly if you're a Red Wings fan and you're turning it on, but if you watch an Arizona Coyotes home game, 75% of the fans are going to be the fans to the away team.
Hockey has 3,500 seat arena.
Hockey has never worked in the desert, at least from my viewing. Maybe Robin, who's staunchly a defender of the Arizona Coyotes, and I understand why, and I respect her opinion on it. And so she's close to the situation, so maybe she sees it differently. But I've never seen that stadium full back before it was Mullet Arena, and I've never seen it when it is full of Coyotes fans. It's just, it doesn't feel like it's ever worked out there. And Gary Bettman's refusal to let this team move and let this team die. I mean, how quickly did he give up on the Thrashers? How quickly did he move them back to Winnipeg? I mean,
twice.
Right?
Well, not to Winnipeg twice, but the Thrashers twice.
The Coyotes are what the Winnipeg Jets were.
Right.
But the reason, the thought that it's like his love child, like he doesn't want to give up on the Coyotes, but it's gotten to a point where it's embarrassing, like playing out of a college arena, like. And I'm not like advocating necessarily relocation, but man, like even a forced sale of the team, like how do you get kicked out of your own arena? Like it's just
a wild situation.
It's become a circus act. And, this latest failure, I know the rumors were circulating yesterday and last night and even this morning that this is it. Somebody brought up Salt Lake, that the organization internally was discussing moving to Salt Lake, Utah. But then Greg Wyshynski and Craig Morgan came out and said, well, pause the relocation talks. Like, Coyotes aren't done trying to have an arena in Arizona.
Like I said, they're going to city hop. They're just going to go from district to district and city to city until they find a city that they think that they can get those props passed in.
But how many cities in Arizona are also going to have the population to support the fan base or support the arena? Like, that's... Yeah. I love the idea of growing the game. Like, I'm a big growing the game proponent, and I think it was a great idea to give it to Arizona to see if that game could grow, but it has not worked in Arizona. And at this point, like, you almost have to give a different city a shot, preferably a team in the West, because you don't want to have to realign the conferences again and have the Wings go back to the West. But it's gotten to a point now where what else can you do with this franchise? It is just... Again, I just keep going back, man. You're playing out of a college arena, then that's unacceptable for a professional team.
Yeah, completely agree. It's like you said, I think you describing it as a circus is pretty accurate. This has just become a complete side act in the NHL, and I don't know. I really do feel bad for the people that do care about the Coyotes, but it's a tough. I don't see a future in which anything's ever going to change out there is, I guess, my biggest thing.
to put it in baseball terms, it's like the Oakland A's. For the longest time, they were playing out of that football stadium, and it was just
Yeah, but the Oakland A's were like a storied franchise at one point. Like in the last 20 years, you're right. But
but they
like,
suffered from having a cheap owner,
yes. Yeah,
mightily.
correct. But like, you know what I mean? Like at like that would be like if the Coyotes were like the Habs for 60 years and then just turned into like the Coyotes lately. Like the Coyotes have never been relevant ever. And it's sad.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that they put together, I think the report says $250,000 for their campaign, while the grassroots program had over like $1 million or $2 million for the nose. I mean, they were literally trying to take over a literal dump. A literal dump is where they were like, and they said, we're going to clean it up. And they couldn't get that proposal passed.
Correct.
Just nutty. All right, we're going to take a quick break and get into some real hockey, or some real Red Wings talk, rather, in segment 2, talking about Derek Lalonde and whether or not we deem his season a success. But first, I got to talk to you guys today about Birddogs. We talked about it the other day, but Birddogs, there's a new sponsor that we have here with Locked On Red Wings. And they don't just make shorts, they have pants as well, but they sent us a couple pairs of shorts. I had one that's polyester brand or blend, and one's a cotton blend, and they're both just so comfortable. They somehow both perfectly fuse the casual and then the professional look of like khaki shorts, but the comfortability of those casual gym shorts that you're going to wear, all while having a built-in boxer brief, which is like, if you're like me and you like to go on runs occasionally, that's perfect, because now you're only getting one pair of clothes sweaty, not two. Plus, it's just super tight fitting and comfortable. It looks better. I feel great when I'm wearing Birddogs, and that stretchy fabric makes my legs look great, and they're comfier than those other shorts that I own. They give me the freedom to wear one pair of shorts or pants on the golf course, to a meeting, a date, or hanging out with friends. You guys, you got to check out Birddogs if you get an opportunity. And hey, if you go to Locked On or birddogs.com/LockedOnNHL and you enter promo code LockedOnNHL, they'll throw in a free custom Birddogs Yeti style tumbler with every order. They're super comfortable, super stretchy, super versatile. They're shorts you can wear in pretty much any situation. So check out Birddog. Go to birddogs.com/LockedOnNHL and use that promo code LockedOnNHL. And they're throwing that custom Birddogs Yeti style mug. Segment 2, Locked On Red Wings podcast. Scotty and I are now going to pivot into kind of analyzing Derek Lalonde and the coaching staff as a whole. But, I mean, when we talk in casual Red Wings fans, most of them are going to put a lot of the responsibility on Derek Lalonde's shoulders. And, I mean, as it should be. He is the head coach for a reason, right?
Correct.
So let's keep it brief. This question is very super simple, Scotty. Do you believe that Derek Lalonde made this team better this year?
I like the term very super simple. I like that a lot.
Because that in itself is not a simple way of putting it.
Yes. It also just like the little alliteration at the end. It was nicely said.
Oh, thank you. Everyone knows me as a fantastic public speaker. That is totally me.
And a writer.
No, that's you.
I would say that, yes, I think he did make the Red Wings better. I don't even think it's really that much of a discussion. I guess it's relative, right? Like to who you are comparing him to. If it's just in a vacuum, did Lalonde have more success this season than Blashill if he was still the head coach this season? I would say yes, 10 times over. But did I think it was like some perfect masterclass of a season coaching wise that is I don't know, like I don't think people are looking around the league and going like, oh my goodness, the Red Wings have like one of the best coaches in the NHL or anything like that. You know what I mean? Like I think it's all relative. Did he make them better than Blashill would have? I firmly believe that. And the biggest areas to point to, we've talked about this a lot already this offseason, but is special teams. I mean, this is a special teams unit that a year ago was absolutely dreadful. And over the last 2 years, at one point was historically bad, like inept. And so having them even be middle of the pack, bottom part of middle of the pack in special teams was a massive, massive, massive step forward and a massive win. And we can get into like the intricacies of, like his system is more defensive. And I think the biggest difference is it's aggressively defensive, whereas Blashill's was like park the bus defensive. You know what I mean? Like it was so non-aggressively defensive. It was everybody sit back. There's zero aggression when we have a lead, even if it's only a goal. And Newsies is simple, but it's still defensive, but it's a little bit more aggressive, on the forecheck is something that we definitely saw this season as well. So yeah, I think I know that I kind of riffed for a while there, but like this was a I think a really solid building block, not only on teaching and implementing his system, but I think that this can be a winning system with more talent on the roster.
I mean, with the exception of Alex Tanguay, who is a holdover from that final year of Jeff Blashill's
Right.
completely new coaching staff. Derek Lalonde, first-time head coach, smartly brought in Bob Bugner, who has head coaching experience with the San Jose Sharks to be the assistant coach for Derek Lalonde. And then you also have Jay Verity, who came in. Alex Westland is your new goaltending coach. You have even all the way down to your video coordinators. You have LJ Scarpacci and Jeff Weintraub. I mean, it's a whole new staff. And, you know, it's one of those things. I like the way you put it to begin this segment when you said it was an improvement relative to where they're at. Like, you have to take the whole truth into account when talking about Derek Lalonde and the improvements that the Red Wings have made. I mean, part of it is the Red Wings had a better roster this year. I mean, David Perron, Andrew Kopp, Oli Mata, Dominik Kubalik. I mean, those are all guys who were bona fide improvements over the roster the Red Wings saw last year, defensively especially. This team had a better defense than last year. I mean, Ben Sherrod, as much crap as we give him, he was an upgrade over the guys they were icing last year. I mean, so you have to take that into account, but also at the same time, you know, a lot of the credit does go to the system that Derek Lalonde and Bob Bugner and Alex Tanguay are trying to implement as well. Like you said, Derek Lalonde has said time and time again that he focuses on this team being a 5-on-5 dominating team and a defensive first team. He's trying to model it after teams like he came from, the Tampa Bay Lightning that dominate the 5-on-5 play. So what I didn't expect, let me put it. I expected it in that I needed this team to take a jump in special teams, but I didn't expect it in that being the focus of this team. The jump they took in special teams, which you already mentioned, was phenomenal. Granted, they went from bottom of the league to middle of the pack, which, you know, I don't think that's the separation is as big as we think it is in terms of like 32 and like 18. But that's still a very important step to take as a team that's trying to get out of the basement. In fact, a lot of the reason how many games this season, Scotty, were carried by the fact that they were winning the special teams battles and they had great goalies. Like that's pretty much all of their big wins. The one thing that they suffered from still is their 5-on-5. I think they were 28th last year, 27th this year, something like that. So the one area where Derek Lalonde really wants to focus didn't really get a whole lot better. I think their goals against went down, but their goals for also went down. So it's like their expected goals for percentage technically went up, but they scored less goals this year than they did last year overall as a team, which makes sense when you consider the fact that they only had one 30-goal scorer this year compared to 2 last year and so on down the list. So while it was definitely an improvement, it's hard for me to give like an actual hard grade. Like I, as a fan, wanted to see a bigger improvement overall. Absolutely. But I, as a fan, it's hard for me to give a full, like, this is the grade that Derek Lalonde gets for his first year. Like, he was a first-year head coach with a team that wasn't a playoff caliber roster to begin with, and they did take a step forward. I think the real test is years 2 and 3. If next year, because this is like we're trying to figure it out year in terms of his system. Next year, the system's not new anymore. So all your returning players should know by now what they're trying to accomplish. It's not new to everyone. It's only going to be new to new players. So next year, and then year 3 especially, those are the years where this team at 5-on-5 has got to take a humongous step forward.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, the future and what they are trying to implement is definitely a really key part of this, because like he is you now know what to formulate like your offseason around in terms of like obviously this team needs another goalie. They need a goal scorer and etc. But as far as like the depth players, you are going to formulate the depth pieces you bring in and the non like top line, top pair type of players into fit your system. So I think it's really important to have a good understanding of what they're going to go after there. They still need a lot of help defensively in on their blue line and just defensive minded forwards. So I would imagine that a lot of the whatever, I don't want to keep using the word depth over and over again, but
Depth.
the bottom six or bottom four type of guys will fit that mold for sure. But I agree with you. I think that like year two is a this is a really big year for everyone. Like this is a huge year for everybody. This is a the biggest offseason in Steve Yzerman's Red Wings tenure. This fall is going to be huge for Lalonde to prove. Really, I mean, not to be like super dramatic, but whether he is going to be behind the bench for like a long, long time, or whether like questions are going to start popping up about him. It's going to be a huge year for a lot of players on this team. I mean, I know I've said it a lot dating back to like February, but like this is truly going to be a vital next like 9 to 12 months for pretty much everybody in this organization.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I have faith in Derek Lalonde still. My faith's not shaken. And like we said, we think
Yeah,
that
same.
overall this team took a step forward under his tutelage. But you got to take that full scope, right? You know, this roster was better as well, giving him better players to work with, and that's why they took 6 points more away from the season. But next year, it's got to be more than 6.
Yep.
Next year, you got to be closing in on 90 points if you're asking me, if not surpassing that. And that's a big ask, and I recognize that in the tough division. But this team's rebuild, it's got to end sometime, and you just cannot continue to kick cans down the road while players' primes are wasting away.
Yeah, well, and you got to walk before you can run too.
Yeah.
Like obviously that when we get to the fall, that falls on Lalonde's shoulders, but you also have to improve this team greatly. The front office still has to do that, and like I know I keep going back to that, but like if this team doesn't get any better this offseason, then no, I'm not going to go in and say Lalonde has to win 90 plus in order for me to consider this situation or this system a success, because he's going to have the exact same roster. And like, I don't expect that to happen. I fully expect this front office to take big steps forward, but like everybody has to be in sync. And that's, again, what the next 3 or 4 months is going to be really, really vital to everyone.
Overall passing grade, though, for Derek Lalonde.
For sure, yeah. This season in a recap, year one, I think this was a really, really good building block is how I look at it. This was a great year one building block that I think that you can really continue growing and climbing up from the foundation you laid this season.
I wouldn't say passing with flying colors, but passed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
Building. I think I like the building block. That's a good way of putting it. We're going to take another quick break, and when we come back, we're going to just riff a little bit about the World Championships that is going on right now, and some Red Wings players are kind of popping off, making a little bit of name for themselves. But first, I got to talk to you guys today about eBay Motors. For a championship team, it's all about making sure every player is a perfect fit. It's the same when it comes to your vehicle. Every part needs to fit just right. So the next time you need parts and accessories, head to eBay Motors. With eBay Guaranteed Fit, you can be sure every part you need fits right the first time around. Just add your ride to My Garage and look for the green check to know your part will fit or your money back. Because just like in sports, confidence is the name of the game when you shop on eBay Motors. And with over 122 million parts to choose from, you'll be back in the game in no time. After all, it's easy to bring home a win when the right parts are guaranteed. Get the right parts, the right fit, and the right prices on ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. eBay Guaranteed Fit, only available in U.S. customers. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. Segment 3, Locked On Red Wings podcast. I was nailing that until that one little hiccup there. I was crushing it.
You said parts about 4 times in 10 seconds.
Well, because I said it wrong the first time, and then like I panicked, and so I stuttered again, and then I was like, stop.
Parts.
Get those parts, baby. For Scotty's little tiny car.
Yes.
So, World Championships, that's going on. That's a thing. Look at that.
I know. Well, I mean, if we want to talk about people that are really sticking out, I guess we can get the really fun one out of the way
You
early.
in any crowd?
But like Carter Mazur.
Oh God, yeah.
Wait, what did you say?
I said you in any crowd
What is that? What did I
because you
say?
said people who stand out.
Oh,
It's
correct.
because you're
Yeah,
really tall,
very
or
much true.
or me in any crowd because my head reflects so much light.
Yeah, shiny.
It's shiny. Ha ha.
Carter
Ridiculous.
Mazur. Yeah, he's had a great. He had a game winner. Yeah.
I believe it was the game winner. Yeah, and it was again. I think it was over. That game just happened too. I'm being such a fake fan right now. Sorry, it happened while I was at work because God forbid one of these games actually takes what's in overseas. I guess I can't be too mad. I think it was over Austria though. That or Latvia. They have the same flag essentially. Totally professional. Don't pay no attention here.
Austria 4-1.
They also let me look it up. Anyways, talk about Dominik Kubalik. He's got 6 points. He's third on the team. He's third in the tournament with
Right.
3 goals, 3 assists, in 3 games. 6 points. While I find this.
Yeah, no, well, that is very much, we talk all the time about Kubalik's style of play and just how it is going to lead to like these kind of runs. Like he's gonna I like comparing him to not in all the same ways, but to Javi Baez a little bit, just in the sense of like the style that he plays is going to be he's going to go on a lot of like crazy hot streaks where you're going to be like, oh my goodness, how are we getting this dude goal a game or whatever for
You were
7
right.
games in a row or whatnot, and then he's going to go 2 months without scoring a goal, and like that's just the style that he plays. It giveth and it taketh away, and that's I think we're in the middle of a heater right now.
You were right, by the way. It was Carter Mazur scoring the second goal in a 4-1 victory over Austria that took place today. Sorry, everybody, for not having that one off the top of my head. I got confused because Latvia's flag is also 2 red stripes with a white stripe in the middle, and I couldn't remember which one it was. But it was a 4-1 victory over Austria. Carter Mazur seamlessly kind of streaked to the middle and just absolutely rifled one home. A patented Mazur laser, as we will call them from now on.
Nice.
Problem is if Razor gets a snipe, do we call those razor lasers or do we just call them
That's also a banger.
razor beams? That way we can have a razor beam and a Mazur laser. They're both laser jokes.
I like it.
All right. Do you see Lane Hutson's goal, by the way? Coast to coast. That was
Yes.
sick. He's going to be
Nasty.
such a
That
good
one went
NHL
kind of
player.
viral a little bit.
Yeah. And then Lucas Raymond, I believe. I think it was technically an exhibition game, the one he had 2 goals in, because I looked at his actual stats, and it said he only had 1 assist so far this tournament. But Joe Veleno's also over a point per game right now with Team Canada. He's got 5 points in 3 games. Joe Veleno had another goal.
Yeah, Joey V, man.
Yeah, I was like, Joe Veleno, is this what happens when you surround him with talent? As he pops off? Have I been doubting Joe Veleno unjustly? Like, what's going on here?
No, he's been great too. The one that really I need a Lucas Raymond like breakout year 3 like I need air. And so seeing him get off to a nice start, obviously he didn't just like gain 20 pounds of muscle in the last month, but like that, and that is going to be like one of the biggest things for him this offseason is just not getting knocked off the puck so easily and being able to kind of be more of a straight line type of player. But seeing him do well, like you're just, even though it is obviously lesser competition and whatnot, like like when he's in a space where he has the ability to take over a game, he really can. And it's just really good to see him doing very, very well so far in Worlds. And I need the breakout year 3 so badly, man.
I know. And then obviously, guys, also Seider is at Worlds too with Team Germany. So keep an eye on him. As far as I can tell, I don't think he's done anything notable yet, besides him just being on the ice, being a notable presence because he's Mo Seider and we love him. But other than that, just keep an eye on World Championships going forward. It's your best source of getting essentially Red Wings hockey because I think they have 7 players playing in the tournament.
Quite a few, yeah.
They have Mazur, Raymond, who's an alternate captain, by the way. Jonathan Berggren, Joe Veleno, Dominik Kubalik, Oli Mata, and Moritz Seider, as well as, Paul Boyer's the equipment manager for Team Canada. That's kind of fire. That's
That
low-key
is fire.
I love that. I didn't even know. I think it's great that they even included him on the graphic and everything. That's sick. Lalonde is the assistant coach for Team USA, and Steve Yzerman is the associate general manager of Team Canada. So there's a lot of recognizable Red Wings names, but I think that's just what happens when you don't make the playoffs.
Yes.
Because that's what Worlds is. It's basically like the championship for the NHL players who didn't go to the playoffs. It's
correct.
It's like the NIT for non-playoff.
It's hockey's NIT, baby.
So, also follow-up news: Marco Kasper off crutches. Apparently, Ice Hockey Gifts tweeted out a video that he's like off of crutches, and his recovery from that knee injury is going pretty well.
Nice.
All right, buddy. Any final thoughts?
We do ball.
We'll be back with a new episode tomorrow. We're gonna do our top favorite moments. I guess I could just say favorite moments or top moments. Our top
favorite, greatest
moments,
good, cool moments of this season
that were awesome
and dope.
So we'll do that for you guys tomorrow on Friday's episode. So make sure you guys stay tuned. Same time. Oh, wait, sorry. Final thoughts.
We will.
Same time, same place. Your team every day.
Every day.